What if I told you that the narrow path has nothing to do with trying harder? Because most of the Christians I know are exhausted. Not because they don't love God, but because they've been taught something about that verse that Jesus never actually said. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like, no matter what you do, it's never enough? You read the Bible for a week, then miss a day, and suddenly feel like you're back to square one. You pray, but your mind wanders. You try to break that habit and it returns. You go to church and smile, but inside you're thinking, why can't I do this right? And the worst part? You look around and everyone else seems fine. Everyone else seems to understand. And you sit there wondering if maybe you just aren't cut out for this. If that's the case for you, stay with me. Because what I'm about to show you can change the way you see your entire walk with God. Let's go to the verse, Matthew 7:13-14. Jesus said, "Enter through the narrow gate. For wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." And you? What did you listen to when you were a child? Probably something like this. The Christian life is difficult, and it should be difficult. That's why it's the narrow path. You have to suffer more, sacrifice more, strive harder, persevere. And then you tried. You clung to your faith with all your might. You made promises to God on Sunday and broke them on Wednesday. You carried the guilt like a backpack full of bricks, and every time someone quoted that verse, it seemed less like an invitation and more like a warning. It's as if God were saying, "Good luck, most of you won't make it." But here's the point. That's not what Jesus said. Not even close. Let's analyze what Jesus really meant. The narrow gate has nothing to do with the difficulty of the journey. It has to do with bridges that you cross. Stay with me. In John 10:9, Jesus says something that changes everything. He says, "I am the door. Whoever enters through me will be saved." Did you notice that? He didn't say, "The gate is your discipline." He didn't say, "The gate is your performance." He didn't say, "The gate is how much you can endure." He said, "I am the gate." The narrow gate is not a test. It is a person. And then, in John 14:6, he makes this even clearer. "I am the way, the truth, and the life." Not, "I'll show you the way if you try hard enough." Not, "I am the way for people who have everything under control." Simply put, I am the way, so why is it narrow? Not because it's painful, not because it requires superhuman effort. It is narrow because there is only one way, and that way is Him. The wide gate, that represents everything else. All the other systems that say, you can reach God on your own terms. Just be a good person, just try harder, just follow the rules. This is the broad path. And here's what nobody told you. You might be on the broad path, inside a church. You can be reading the Bible, participating in a small group, serving on the worship team, and still be on the broad road. Because the broad path isn't about where you are doing. It's about what you're in, supporting each other. If you rely solely on yourself, on your effort, your willpower, your track record, you're on the easy path. If you are depending on Jesus, on His finished work, on His grace, on His righteousness, that is the narrow gate, and that. Now I know what you might be thinking. Okay, but how does that translate into practice? Because it sounds great, but I live in the real world. Fair. Let me answer some questions I see all the time in the comments. Do I need to give up everything to follow Jesus? No. Surrender doesn't mean quitting your job and moving to the mountains. Surrender is an attitude. It's waking up and saying, I don't have what it takes today, but you do. That's it. That's the narrow gate. Every morning. Why is it so hard to let go of control? Because throughout your life, you've been rewarded for being in control. School, work, relationships. You've been taught that you're responsible for handling everything alone. And then you take that same mentality to God and wonder why you're exhausted. Letting go seems dangerous because the world has trained you to hold on. But God is asking you to do something different. Not to hold on tighter, to let go. What is it like in practice to surrender in everyday life? It seems honest. It's like praying, God, I don't want to read the Bible today, but I'm going to show up anyway, not to gain something, but because I need you. It's about admitting to a friend, I'm having a hard time, instead of pretending everything is okay. It's about stopping the act. It's about dropping the mask and allowing God to find you where you truly are, not where you think you should be. Maybe you're not failing. Perhaps you learned it wrong. Perhaps the reason you are so tired is not weakness. It's because you've been carrying something you should never have had to carry. God is not standing at the end of the road with his arms crossed, waiting to see if you can make it there. He is standing at the gate, with open arms, saying, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This is the narrow gate. It was never about conquering your space. It was always about going through the door that he had already opened. So, let me present a new perspective on this. The broadest path is to live from within yourself. It's waking up every day believing that everything depends on you, on your effort, on your strength, on your performance. And when you fail, and you will fail, you spiral. Because the whole system depended on you being enough. And you aren't. None of us are. The narrow path is walking with Jesus. It's not a harder road. In fact, it's lighter. Because the weight is no longer on your shoulders. You're not presenting yourself to God. You're walking with him. And when you stumble, and you will stumble, he doesn't disqualify you. He lifts you up. That's the difference. The broad path says, do more. The narrow path says, trust in me. So I want to leave you with this. I'm not going to pressure you into anything. No altar calls, no guilt, just one question. What are you still trying to carry on your own? In what area of your life are you still clinging to tooth and nail, convinced that if you try a little harder, you'll finally be good enough? What would it be like to put that on the ground? Don't give up. Don't stop caring. But stop pretending that everything depends on you. Why not? It never happened. This is the narrow gate. And it remained open the entire time. If this resonated with you in a unique way, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe, we're just getting started.